Okay, so today we are honored to have our special guest, special speaker from MassCyberCenter, and Fathy, to give us like an introduction about her program himself and then the importance of STEM field cybersecurity. Max, please.
Thank you, Yashu. My name is Max Fathy. I am the Ecosystem Program Manager at the MassCyberCenter. The MassCyberCenter is a division of the MassTech Collaborative, which is a public agency under the Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development, focused on advancing the tech and innovation economy in Massachusetts. The MassCyberCenter is one of the divisions of MassTech, and our focus is on promoting resiliency, ecosystem development, and outreach for cybersecurity in Massachusetts. So on the resiliency side, we run a resiliency working group that brings together state public agencies with local municipalities, focusing on planning, collaboration among state agencies to advance cybersecurity and making our cyber resilient. Ecosystem side, that's my job. We focus on training and education a lot for cybersecurity, growing the workforce, creating new pathways into the workforce, growing the pipeline. And we run a cybersecurity training and education working group to support our ecosystem development, in addition to some other workforce programs that I think we'll talk about today. And then on the outreach side, we focus on raising public awareness of cybersecurity. We run Cybersecurity Month for the state of Massachusetts, which it is right now. So happy Cybersecurity Month in Massachusetts. And those are our three pillars, and happy to be here. So thanks, Yashu.
That's great. Thank you for the details about your center and the purpose and the goals. So would you please share, some of your thoughts with us regarding the trend in STEM education, of course, particular in cybersecurity?
Absolutely. So demand for cyber workers and cybersecurity in general is very high in Massachusetts. We have a very rich cybersecurity ecosystem in the state of cybersecurity companies, educational institutions, public sector as well, research and development, investors. So there's very strong cybersecurity ecosystem in the state, and there's a high demand for cybersecurity services from not only cybersecurity companies, like there's many large cybersecurity vendor organizations that provide cybersecurity goods and services. They may have a platform, a specific tool to provide a certain types of services. And then there's also many, many, many companies in the state that are not cybersecurity companies, but rely on cybersecurity, like banks, hospitals, educational institutions. These institutions have often functions within them that support the cybersecurity of their organizations. So there's a high demand for cyber workers in the state. Some recent statistics show, there's tens of thousands of cybersecurity jobs in the state of Massachusetts. Many of those are technically oriented cybersecurity jobs. Many of them are a little less technically oriented. There's over 300, by our last estimates, over 300 companies in Massachusetts focused on cybersecurity products and services. So there's a very rich ecosystem. So many well-resourced companies have sophisticated cybersecurity departments. They may use more sophisticated vendors, but there's a lot of other organizations that have fewer resources and have a much smaller cybersecurity staff, or they rely on an IT team to oversee security functions. Sometimes it's just one person or a couple people for even the smallest organizations, like some municipalities in the state who oversee cybersecurity. So there's that dichotomy that's important to point out. And while there's a super high demand for cybersecurity workers, there's not enough talent overall to go around. we have very talented cybersecurity workforce, but there's such high demand that we have openings here in Massachusetts. And this is not exclusive to Massachusetts. This is nationwide. There's a big cybersecurity workforce shortage. Recent statistics from CyberSeek, which is a very prominent statistical aggregator of workforce statistics for cybersecurity, show that there's almost 20,000 open cybersecurity job openings in Massachusetts over the past 12 months. And demand for these types of jobs, for these roles, range from technical to non-technical jobs. There's no, obviously the more technically oriented cybersecurity positions are in extremely high demand, but other positions, governance, risk and compliance type jobs, other sort of functions for cybersecurity are in high demand as well. And then there's a really fierce competition in the marketplace for the workers that are out there. These positions command, very significant salaries oftentimes, and it's a great place to be in if you have some of these skills for cybersecurity. It's a great field to go into because you're going to have a lot of job opportunities, which is wonderful. So I guess I'll talk a little about how you can get into the field, or what are some of the pathways we've been seeing.
Yeah, exactly. Like since we have such a in-demand skills set in workforce, how do we prepare? How we attract more students to get in the pipeline cybersecurity? Please.
Sure. Well, I'll start by talking about the many great higher education institutions we have in the state, because the MassCyberCenter works with many of those very closely through our cybersecurity training and education working group. We have in Massachusetts community colleges, state universities, which are 4-year, community colleges 2-year, and then also private universities that have cybersecurity related programs. Many of these programs are not actually cybersecurity programs. They're like computer science programs or IT programs with cybersecurity focuses, minors or concentrations. And we see that a lot with the state universities and some of the private schools. And then the community colleges, some have 2-year cybersecurity associate's degree programs. Some, similar to the 4 years, have IT programs or computer science programs. So there's a wide range of each program is a little bit different from the other. And that's something kind of special about the cybersecurity field, is that there's not a, one size fits all sort of degree program. And that also creates some problems too, which we can talk a little bit more about. But there are 6 schools in higher education that are National Security Agency Centers of Academic Excellence. In Massachusetts, there's 3 scholarship for service schools programs in Massachusetts. So there's some really great higher education institutions focusing on cybersecurity throughout the state. They collaborate through our training and education working group, and their programs are growing. So developing further over time to meet the needs of the workforce. But there's a challenge of getting workers from the cybersecurity, these cyber-oriented programs into some of the entry-level jobs. We hear all the time through our work and some of the programs we have that it can be very challenging to find that entry-level position in cybersecurity. Oftentimes the kind of job descriptions and requirements of actual job requirements of the positions are misaligned. We see a lot of requirements for having a bachelor's degree to enter entry-level cybersecurity programs. Our community colleges don't provide bachelor's degrees, but they do provide a whole lot of very talented, cybersecurity graduates out of their programs that could be very qualified and ready to do the positions that our employers offer. So that's a kind of a disconnect that is an ongoing conversation between, I think, the business community and academia that needs to continue to smooth out that pathway. And it frustrates students. We hear from this all the time. It frustrates students. How am I supposed to find my entry-level cybersecurity role when I'm supposed to have 3 to 5 years of experience? Well, we tell them, go ahead and apply anyway, make your best case, bring in all of your experiences, projects, extracurricular, and that will be helpful. But that's an issue for the pipeline and making sure there's enough workers in there. So aligning that's important. Then we also really need to think creatively about how to get people into the workforce beyond just degree programs, mentorships, apprenticeships, certificate programs, self-paced trainings. In the cyber community, there's an endless amount of online free resources, classes, videos that, people in this field use all the time to upskill, continue their skills, try to get into the field. And then the issue of diversity in the field is really key. And that's a big part of some of our work at the MassCyberCenter, not only focus on bringing in students from populations that are very well represented in the field. The cyber field is very overwhelmingly male. It's very overwhelmingly white. Statistics bear this out. And that population group needs to expand to make sure we have enough workers in the field, in addition to all the benefits that come from having a diverse workforce. So I think those are some of my thoughts on how we need to grow the field and what are some of the ongoing trends.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple of really important key points here, besides the traditional educational path, and should have more like a credentialing program, certificate, mentorship, like an internship, and try to help the students or the people who are interested in this can get another pathway to get involved in cybersecurity. And also you mentioned about DEI components, can create some programs that actually the same thing, creating more opportunities for those underrepresented groups. So I know you have a successful program about mentorship. Can you share more about the detail of this program? And so how can we, the people interested in to get in to participate?
Absolutely, yeah. The MassCyberCenter runs a cybersecurity mentorship program. We started this program in fall 2020 that pairs together diverse undergraduate students in the state of Massachusetts with a cybersecurity industry mentor for a one-on-one mentorship where they meet at least once every 2 weeks to talk about cybersecurity careers and life and just that general sort of mentorship discussion that an experienced person can bring to a younger person. But then they also work together on a cybersecurity project, which is a really interesting way to help develop that relationship, but also give the student something to work on of concrete relevance, to learn about some specific aspect of cybersecurity. Like we allow them to build, break, and secure and administer a virtual machine. That's a more technical type of project that a student can work on with their mentor. It can work on creating a cyber incident response plan, or they can do something as non-technical as developing a cybersecurity awareness product. So there's a wide range of projects the student and the mentor can work on together, and they're 3 months together. That's how long the program really runs. And it culminates in a project showcase event at the end of each cycle, the cycles run along the semester schedule. We run the program in the spring and the fall. So we're currently in the fall cycle. And the project showcase is a really wonderful event that allows each student to give a 5-minute presentation on what they worked on with their mentor over the course of the program, and it brings everyone together. So that project ends up being something that students can put in their resume. When I talk about, how do you show that you have experience? This is often a way that students get experience. And we see applicants in this program saying, I have no cybersecurity experience, even though they're in a degree program. So they really do have experience. But then they can add this to their portfolio. They can put it on their resume. They can talk about it in an interview. They can present on it at a conference, which we've seen some mentees do, and the best outcomes of this program. So for the student, there's all sorts of benefits. And again, we focus on bringing in diverse students into the program, women, people from communities of color, so we can grow the diversity of the pipeline. And then from the mentor perspective, it's a really great opportunity for companies to get involved in workforce development, to engage with academic institutions. Even though this runs separate from formal academic programs, it is not an internship within the company. It's run out of the MassCyberCenter. And it's a great opportunity for companies to get involved in the ecosystem and have employees give back, contribute to growing the pipeline. And also, it's a good professional development opportunity for workers in these organizations. We have many more senior folks who serve as mentors, chief information security officers, vice presidents of organizations, people who are high up in the cybersecurity functions of these companies. But we also have a number of junior folks who are in the program, 1, 2, 3 years out. So those people have a great opportunity in this program to learn how to mentor and start doing that as a regular aspect of what they do throughout their career. So we're really appreciative of all of the great mentors we have in this program. We've had, I think we're around 70 distinct mentors at this point over the 5 cycles. That's allowed us to touch over about, I think, almost 140 students over the 5 cycles of this program. And we always have 2 or 3 students apply for every mentor there is. So we can't accommodate every student, unfortunately. The more mentors we have, the more students we can bring in. So I guess I'd plug this opportunity for anyone watching. If you want to serve as a mentor to an undergraduate student in Massachusetts, please go to our website, masscybercenter.org. We have a mentorship program page. We're not currently recruiting for a cycle, but we do have an interest form that'll allow you to sign up and then get updates for when we open applications for our next cycle, which will be in the spring. So we'll start recruitment again in January for the spring cycle, which will be our 6th. So it's a really great program to promote the ecosystem, to promote the workforce. And we're really happy to have all the schools and the companies participate in it.
Right. So now you're talking about like the structure of the ecosystem. You see the demands and needs, and then you have the chance, the experience to go through as like a mentorship program. So in this computational thinking, artificial intelligence age, so what do you see the next step or future phase for this cybersecurity, the STEM education in the workforce?
Sure. Well, I think a few things come to mind. Cybersecurity is about people, process, and technology. We focus a lot on the technology aspect, what's in the networks, hands-on keyboard, that really, all the great services that vendors provide, SIM technology and all that, and so many other technologies. But we really need to focus, I think, going in the future on raising overall awareness of cybersecurity, because people are a critical part of cybersecurity. In organizations, people, and even in non-business organizational settings, people are the best defense in protecting against cyber threats. And it's really critical to ensure that every citizen is aware of cyber threats that can exist and follow cyber best practices. That's a big part of what we do in October, Cybersecurity Awareness Month, is to try to raise awareness of cybersecurity. But integrating cybersecurity into the fabric of civil society going forward is going to be really important to the pipeline and the workforce, and getting people into, not only getting people into the industry, but making sure that the people who aren't cybersecurity workers are aware of cybersecurity. If many organizations will do, employee training for cybersecurity to make sure that that their workers are aware of phishing threats and follow best practices. And And that all happens outside of the context of the security team or an IT team. And it's really important that all people are aware of how to follow cyber best practices. And then also the processes is a really great opportunity to integrate resiliency programs that are happening with the state, all the great resiliency activity that's taking place with workforce development. Some people may know that there's been funding from the state to establish cyber ranges and security operations centers at colleges and universities throughout the state to support not only municipal resiliency to provide cybersecurity services to cities and towns and other traditionally undersecure organizations, but also to support workforce development. So within those resiliency programs, the SOC providing cybersecurity services to cities and towns and other nonprofits and small businesses, there's funding to have students working on those programs that will give those students the opportunity to gain hands-on cybersecurity skills that employers really want, that will give them give them an advantage in finding that entry-level employment ultimately in the field. So that's creating a new pathway to get in. So the Cyber Center has been excited to support that, and more information will be coming out about that program. But that's a great example of how we need to bring together all different aspects of cybersecurity to promote workforce development, because our people are our most valuable asset in protecting against cyber threats. So that's one other area. I mean, I think another example of how we can really focus on giving students hands-on experience to get into the industry. That's going to be so critical. Hands-on experience. We do this with our mentorship program. Have students work on a cyber incident response plan for their local municipality. That's a great way to get them involved. So I'll say there's that opportunity in the future. But another really important thing to talk about is just tweaking and smoothing out the pathways that we do have already to get students into the workforce. We need to work on promoting pathways from high school to community college to 4-year colleges, that 2+2+2 we talk about in cybersecurity in our training and education working group, to make sure that a student who does an associate's degree program for 2 years and then wants to transfer into a 4-year program for cybersecurity can do that and still complete in 4 years. There's currently some issues that our working group has been focusing on, that the credits don't line up perfectly and other requirements are needed that oftentimes aren't really necessary to get students into the cybersecurity field after graduation. So that's an important focus of our training and education working group, and we need to work on continuing to smooth out that sort of pathway. And then I'd just say a couple other things. We need to focus on younger too than undergraduate. So a lot of the MassCyberCenter's work is on undergraduate programs. We're only a cyber center of 4. There's the whole K through 12 space as well. That is a huge opportunity to continue to integrate cybersecurity into K through 12 education, getting students interested in this field much younger than even college, starting in elementary school, middle school, high school. And there's a lot of great cybersecurity activity at the high school level throughout the state. So that should continue to be a focus going into the future on raising, the overall level of cybersecurity programming in the K through 12 space.
Yeah, indeed, we do need the experts and passionate practitioner like you, and actually expand the pipeline and start from a younger age, and work with and collaborate with the cybersecurity mentor, and then really toward to like the workforce development and more job opportunity. So we are really grateful to have you today and sharing your valuable experience and the knowledge with us. So thank you so much, Max, and we will get back to you with like some questions, and also like you're gonna provide us we have a link of your center, your program.
Yes.
So any questions, please feel free to contact us, contact Max. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.